Hi, my name's Lel and I'm a furniture artist and I'm from Made by Marley. If you're new to my channel, I do furniture. That's what I do, furniture art. So today's tutorial in depth is all about texture on furniture. Are you new to furniture texture? Are you thinking about furniture additives? How do you apply it? What do you do with it? What can be done with it? So today is all about texture and I'm going to get Matt to give you a wee close-up of the texture. Okay, so this is today's piece. This is one that I have been personally saving. It is a handmade out of floorboards, pine I presume, might be oak, cupboard. They've made the glass part. This is out of an old door. An old window. You can see all the putty and everything still on the inside of the door. I love what they've done. It's very rustic. It's got a cupboard down the bottom. It has been cleaned, but to be honest with you, it doesn't look any better than when I cleaned it. What can I say about this piece? This is for a very difficult nightmare client, very exacting, likes things to be just the way she likes them. This piece is for me. Not very often. It's not very often I paint. Normally, maybe if I paint something, I'll keep it, but I don't ever set out to paint myself something. But this is going to be for me because I love pieces like this. You'll never get another one. Somebody's made it. So this is going to be mine. Something is going to have to leave the building for me to have this, but it's going to be mine. What am I going to do today? I am going to be running you through, because we've done a video not that long ago on putting texture on using layers of paint. But today, and I did say in that video, we'll kind of reconvene and go back to how to put texture on with a texture medium. So I'm going to sit down, we're going to mix up some paint and we're going to get some texture onto this. That's the first thing we're going to do. Okay, so today our undercoat is going to have an awful lot of black in it. So this is Athenian black. I'm just going to give it a bit of stir because it just came out of the packet off the shelf. I need to fill up my black sauce bottle, so I'll do that in a minute as well. So I'll kill two birds with one stone. I always think the black looks like you could eat it. I don't know why. Maybe I should. No. Not an idea. Right, okay. Texturizing mediums. What do you have? You can have sea spray, that's a texturizing product. Salt wash, that's a texturizing product. These products are great products, and I'm not about bashing anybody's products, they're not. But you can do it much cheaper, and if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I use bentonite clay. Bentonite clay is used in a lot of cosmetics kind of stuff, bath bombs, that kind of thing. It's cheap as chips and I like it. I've tried different clays. You can even use talcum powder. I mean, it's just something to thicken up your paint. Why do I use bentonite clay? I use bentonite clay because it really sticks incredibly well. However, what I do know about when I mix things together, if you add plaster of Paris to paint, the surface on that is so hard wearing, it's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. It doesn't make so much of a texture though, but you could apply it with a brush in a textured way if you had any plaster of Paris. So this is the bentonite clay. Now I don't buy it in big large volumes, Linda. I buy them in packs like this, and they last for such a long time. This lasts for ages because you don't really need that much. Now you have to decide what you want to do. Are you going heavy or light on your texture? Now I'm going heavy. Now, what can I say about my piece? Well, it's had a life, and it is old floorboards, and a little bit sad to cover some of that up, but I think it's just gonna add to it. I mean, it's even got a bit broken off the door, which I really enjoyed. Maybe a dog chewed it or something, I don't know. That's just a little bit of backstory I made up in my head. So what are you gonna do?
Was it a little terrier?
It might have been.
There's a little white one with black spots.
Eddie? Eddie's not a terrier. Right, okay, so you're gonna need enough for the whole piece. So we are going to be putting colour in amongst this. So just let my things over there so I don't, yeah, see, always drips in my hands. Now, what are we going to do here? Let's see. Now, add it little by little, because a little of this goes a long, long way in your paint. I find it doesn't really change the colour of my paint, even though it's this sort of colour. I nearly took these ones from under here, but these are the pieces that are level in my furniture, so not that. And then you just stir it through.
Back a little bit behind maybe so I can see properly.
Can I what?
Just
Move that bag?
That's it, perfect.
I thought you were calling me a bag there.
No,
bag.
I said, can you move that bag, baby?
My dad used to say that in shops when he was out shopping with my mum. They used to say, do you want a bag? And he said, no, I've got an old bag here. That's funny. Right, I think this is good. We will mix it thicker as we go for different areas, but this is going to be our sort of basic. Now, that is our basic sort of texture there. Happy days. Next, what have we got here? I've also looked out this. This is an IOD stamp. It's the snake one. I've used it once, never used it again, but I don't particularly want it snaky, but I think this might give us some texture, but it might not. I don't know. I've got it sitting at the side. This is very interesting. This is for when I paint in the kitchen. I fill up ice cream tubes of Annie Sloan paint. However, I need to use all this up right now. I think I got a little bit too carried away with filling up too many colours. So
you're too giddy about your Russian doll project, weren't you?
I was painting a little Russian doll. There's a little reel on it on Facebook if you want to see it. Anyway, I took these over because I had a few other things I wanted to paint. So I'm not going to use all of this, but I am going to use, I'm just trying to work this out on camera. I'm going to use the yellows, the blues. That won't surprise you, the blues. Oh, do you know what? I'll just going to bang it all together and see what happens. Yeah, it's already one of those projects. It is for me, so, you know, I'm okay with this. But the first thing we need to do is we need to get this covered in texture. We'll worry about the colours once we've got the black on. What am I going to do? I am literally going to cover my piece in tons of texture. Make sure it's nice and thick in the joins, because that's where the colour is going to go back over the top of it. You know, the joins where you want your texture applied, apply it thicker. So you want it quite thick there. Applying it round here will give it, that's where you kind of really want it nice and thick and lumpy. Now you can apply it, you've seen me do this before, but you've seen me do it with like a plastic scraper. It gives you a different kind of texture. It gives you texture like this. Yeah. So, I mean, I might do some of this on, actually, do you know what? I might do some of this here on the door. And literally, this is my work for just now. I'm going to cover this whole piece in the black. Once it's kind of kind of just touch dry, we'll come back and we'll put some colours in, and we're going to put our colours in round and about where our edges are, so that we can scrape in there and make a sort of, now you can be kind of, I want to put some enough on to see what that snake stamp's like. So let's just kind of trial this. This might not work. I don't know. Just saw it and I thought, I never used that. Maybe I should. Now I've got a bucket of hot water ready for my stamps, just in case. And when you use this on brushes, wash your brushes pretty swiftly, just because you should. I just want to get bang some texture up in here. Okay.
I'm just going to come around.
Are you coming round?
Try and get a little bit closer to what you're doing so you can see.
You can see it.
So you can see it.
Yeah, I think it's always nice to kind of look at it. See that there? Whoa. Now, I'm a love of a corner. Don't want it too heavy up in there at the top of the cupboard, so I'm just going to paint there, and then that cupboard is going to drive me insane. Right, okay, I've done enough of this. You get that part. I'm going to go straight over the knobs. I was going to replace the handles on this, but I've decided, no, I'm going to keep it as it was now. Right, so we've got enough to try this Let's just see what this does. It might not do anything, and it might do something that we like. I'm not imprinting the whole thing on it because I don't want it looking like a snake at the end of the day, but I do want the texture. So let's see what it does.
It's there.
It's kind of there. Are we keeping it? Yeah, let's do this just in the door aperture. Just in the door aperture.
It's there.
I think. This is going to end up being, at the end of the day, a stencil project. A stencil and maybe a stamp project. I don't know. I've got a vision in my mind of what I want, and it won't surprise you to know that it's going to be kind of Indian inspired. Yes, indeed. So the bohemian and bougie amongst us can all go, yay! Right. Okay.
I think that's most of them.
I think that is most of them. Yay! I need back to my scraper. I think, you know how I always say it should be fun? I'm not going to lie. Sure, this is the funnest thing to do ever. Well, I think it is. And it is for me. So not only is it's a happy, happy project. And I'm teaching you about texture as well, which is good. It's a win-win, Martin.
It is.
It's a win-win.
Win-win. Now in a happy place.
Oh, definitely. Marty said to me this morning, you look happy. I went, yeah. I love painting furniture. Because you'd be surprised. Everybody thinks I paint all the time. I actually don't. I can't do it Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday until the evenings because we've got Oscar. So, and most of the time these days I seem to be doing a whole lot more on social media than I ever did before. Right, okay, let's go back in with this. I think I do like this now, Matt, and I've decided I might do it along here and up the sides. I think it just needs a minute to kind of settle almost.
I think it's doing a couple of things. You've got a hint of that stamp. But
Yeah.
I think the sort of ridges that
Yeah.
it's creating are picking up light.
I think it'll be really nice when we start to put colour over the top of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite a pale cabinet, this, actually, for me. I even
Oh, yeah. All this black.
No, it's going to end up pale.
Yes.
At some point. At some point, Martin. Now, I can already see I've been so heavy on the texture that I'm just going to show you a little bit of the stamp on the sidey parts that I'm running out of paint already, but I mean, goodness knows how long this will take to dry. Right, there you go. There is no rule of thumb here of how much you apply, how much you don't. You just need to kind of go for it. Fabulous. Right, I'm going to get on and do the whole lot. The whole lot. I'm going to just put texture on the brush round about the windows. But everything else, but not the inside of the cupboard, because I'll be doing that a contrasting to whatever I do down here. Okay, right, I'm going to get on and do it. Okay, this is a little bit experimental. Let me just talk you through what I'm trying to do. I had some purple paint in the bottom of my plastic tub, and I popped it like that, and it came off like chips. Now, I don't know if I've seen furniture artists get these and make a sort of terrazzo tile out of broken chips of paint. So that then got me thinking that I have all this paint in my ice cube trays. Ignore the plastic, I just put it back over because I'm going to use what's the remainder of what's in there. So what I did was I thought, but I want larger sort of kind of, not quite mosaic, but I thought, what would happen if I smeared it onto my mix mats, which I have done. Now, Martin's just said to me off camera, this will either be really good or there'll be a whole load of cleanup of mixed mass at the end of this. And I think he's quite right.
A very colourful sink.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll work. Not quite sure. It's on the mixed mats. I'm going to have to let that dry. But while that's happening, and I'm just putting this paint to the side, the good thing about working in the stable, or I can just cover things with plastic and they'll sit quite nicely for days. I noticed it was getting quite dry in the house, but over here it's fine. So I'm just going to stick that because we're going to need that later on down the road. I didn't use these purple ones because it's no good to me because it's not my colour palette. Next thing, Martin's also said off camera, ooh, it's not looking much better because we're going through an incredibly ugly stage right now. quite ugly. Now, next thing what I've got in here, I wonder if Martin could show you. Can you see that?
Try it. Hang on. Let me.
I think you notice more when I tip it. This is the bottom of Burgundy. It's Annie Sloan's Burgundy. I usually use mine off sauce bottles, so I don't have this problem like I used to have, but this is an old can and it's very thick. What you're going to need next is a paintbrush, maybe some palette knives, and a heat tool. A hairdryer will be perfect. You don't need a paint stripping gun like I use. You'll strip your furniture paint back off. So I'm just going to turn around and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. So we've got our monumental texture on it, and it is textured. Now, next thing.
See if I can get in on that as well.
See if you can show it. Yeah.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah. Look up here. Can you see that in camera? It's because it's black. Yeah. Right. Now, this is another way to get texture on furniture, which is a little bit more subtle. It's more subtle doing it this way if you use dried up paint, because it's thick and it's crusty as well. Now, if it's not crusty enough, what you can do is you can put a heat tool on it. I'm sorry for the noise. Heat it up a bit. And can you see that that also gives really good texture, and it's quite subtle. It's quite subtle, but you can also, if you want to be even more experimental, you can take some of this thick paint out and you can put it on top of your furniture like this. Right? Now, this is all going to get covered up with a really nice, pretty blue. So don't be stressing. If you're new to my channel, it's all good. Again, heat it up with the tool. I mean, a hairdryer is preferable to what I'm using. Wait till it gets quite gloopy, like so. When it gets this gloopy way, then you can start manipulating it into how you want it to be. You can heat it up a little bit more, and that gives you also really good texture. It gives you a chance you can play with it a little bit more. And that gives you this gives you something different to this. So, given those two different sort of ways, what I'm going to do now is I'm not covering the piece of furniture. Now what an important part of knowledge I forgot to tell you at the very beginning of this process is, if you want a specific colour at the very start of this, I wanted it white at the beginning of mine. So mine went on to white, but I forgot to tell you it would be really handy if you had a colour on it first and it had been on it for maybe a wee while. It's quite cured, a colour. Or this works really well on dark furniture, and you put a light colour and you're pulling, because it'll do two things when I scrape it. It'll leave me black and it'll leave me white underneath, and now it's going to leave me red around the edges. So, but I'm also going to mix. This is a strange one. I think this is maybe a mix left over, possibly from the Annie Sloan. I'm not quite sure. But it's a kind of, I'm using up paint today, so I'm just going to, it's kind of pinky, but, well, hey ho, let's just run with it. It's quite thick as well, so let's just do something like this back in the Annie Sloan. Now, I'm going to heat all this. Oh, I don't want it raspberry. I'm going to heat this all up with a heat gun off camera again and make it all nice and thick. But or do I want it raspberry? It does look quite nice, that colour. Let's just play with that a bit. Today I think could be quite experimental, if I'm honest. Round handles would be quite nice.
Nothing wrong with experimental.
Nope, up in these gaps up in here. Gaps, you know what I mean, up inside underneath there. Let's put a nice red, or we're saying it's now sort of berry coloured, really. Your colours depends on what you want to reveal. I'm going to reveal this, I think. I've got all the colours in my mix mat, so whether I'll use all these with this pink, I don't know, because my colours now are getting a wee bit away from me, but that's okay. So you can see what I'm doing. Where you want to reveal a bit of it, I would put some on it. The rest is just going to be painted over. So it's always a good point at this time to remember where you actually applied colour, so that when you go to sand back, you're going to get a lot of the white and a lot of the black, but try and remember. So I kind of going round in a frame and round in a frame. And then that way it keeps it all, I can remember where I'm going back to. And a couple of splodges. Let's do a darker one there on the cupboard. So I'm going to get on now. I'm going to go round my piece. I'm going to get my heat gun onto this in a minute to create even more texture. And I'm going to do the rest of the piece like this now. Soon, I promise, it's going to start turning a corner, but right now it's not turning anything. It's turning heads for the wrong way. Okay, right, I'm going to get on and do this now. Okay, now we're at the stage where we're going to give this a coat of paint. There's a lot of layers on this and a lot of texture. We're not going to scrape or do anything just now. We're just going to try and get it into its sort of, well, better shape than it's currently in. Now, I want to try something first before I may not like it. I've got a blade here, silicone blade. I want to see what it's like if I paint it with blade. I think it's too textured for that, actually. So, yeah, I think I'm probably going to need to do a paintbrush. Let me just see. Yeah, I think the paintbrush is going to be more, but I'm wanting to keep some of this colour in here, so let's put a brush at an angle up in here just now, and that'll keep some of that. Push my door in, stop it banging. Now, you don't need to worry, because there's going to be another coat. Yes, I am putting another coat of paint over the top of this one. So this is just a kind of starter.
Yep. Have faith.
Yeah.
Keep watching, because
yeah, it's all going to happen. It just
don't bail now.
What happens is to get all this texture on, you need to then kind of do a sort of, well, I think you have to kind of reset it in some way. You're going to scrape a lot of this back, but you just need something. So you don't want to, if you put the bother of putting it in there, you need to make sure that it stays in there. So like up here where it's really crusty, let's kind of just do something like that. I think when I scrape that back, a lot of that might be white or black. You'll lose some of the pink, but this is the way to kind of do it. The next lot I will kind of wash over, and then we're going to have to leave it for the night, because really there's only so much this can take in this. It's got suddenly very cold in Scotland. It's freezing. It is really cold. It's even quite cold in my house, so you can tell.
The last couple of days in particular.
Yeah, it's been cold. I noticed the other day and I thought, gosh, doesn't seem that long, but here we are, we're back to this weather again. But now this is really going to take a little bit of time again, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, because we are going to be designing this once we get it to where it's got to go. So I'm not going to take too long on it, but you can see where this is going. Again, I want to keep some of that nice, the pink, the sort of dusty kind of pink colour. So I don't want to kind of go too close into there either. These corners and edges are always my favourite part. So let's just kind of do something like that, and then we can go in a bit heavier here again. But as I said, this is just really a sort of kind of just a coat, because I have this, you see, I mixed this up. What did I mix this up for? I have no idea. It may be a remainder of the Annie Sloan piece. I think it's Giverny and a little bit of Amsterdam green, a little bit of white. So I'm going to mix up a little bit more and water it down to wash over the top of this before we even scrape anything back. And obviously I've still got my paint chips. And I'm looking at my paint chips and going, these are not the right colours for this piece. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let them dry on there, and I'll do we'll do next week's piece of furniture, and so you know what's coming down. It's kind of like spoiler alert, but I'm going to do something with them next week. So I'm just going to leave them in the stable, and then we'll see how they go. What do you think about that, Martin?
I think they're going to be cool.
It was just an idea I had as on the
You can
hoof.
get them off there in like a, not a one,
but in a kind of like parts that I can You know, it's not, they're not dry, so don't even start picking at them, Martin. Don't you
I'm not
touch
gonna. I'm just.
I'm not gonna.
I'm not gonna. I'm just sort of trying to show the texture
Yeah.
in them. You know.
I think that I hadn't planned to use them on this piece, so it kind of threw me for a minute. And I thought, how am I going to incorporate them? And I thought, well, it was never part of my master plan to. But I tell you what I have done today, and I don't know if you've noticed, when you are a furniture artist, you end up with lots of little parts of paint. And I've used them all up today. Apart from this colour here, which I've got sitting down on the floor, which I might be able to use later on down the line. But apart from that, I've used all of that. There's some stuff left over in that palette, which we can maybe use for when we get to the stenciling of this. So using up all your little parts of paint, it makes your business more cost effective. And if you're, I mean, these two, the pinks and stuff, the pink was left over and this was the thick paint. So you may as well use them and get value from them. So that's what I'm doing basically. I'm using up, and a thick paint at the bottom of the can is brilliant for adding texture. So if you don't even have any bentonite clay, just start with that. Do your furniture a base and then dry off your paint. And if it's really still a little bit wet, there's only a tiny little bit, get your heat tool and kind of just pop it in the lid and kind of thicken it up a little bit and it'll be good to go. And use your heat tool to kind of manipulate it and you'll get really nice texture that way. Today is all about the texture. And I mean, I don't think I've ever, not yet on YouTube, created a piece with this. I mean, my Moroccan door I did a wee while ago had a bit of texture on it, but nothing like this. Because I really want to show you what you can do with texture. So I'm just going to keep on going, painting in my blue.
Trying to show this.
And as I said, there's going to be more paint going over the top of this. Because remember what I said to you when we did the paint, we did the how to add texture with just paint. Layers add texture. Colour and layers add texture. So when me putting a paint wash over the top of this, again, it's going to add more texture because it's another layer. So, you know, just work with what you've got and just keep layering it on. If it's a layered textured piece, then there's no reason why I don't think you should hold back, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go and I'm going to now do the whole piece in this blue. If I do manage to get it dry, we'll come back and we'll wash it and we'll leave it overnight and we'll start again fresh tomorrow. Okay. Okay, so I said I wanted to try and mix more of this. So this is the moment of truth to see if I can remember what I did. Try to think how much, what's what with this mix. So this is Giverny. It's a nice light sky blue. So that, and this is Amsterdam green. And I think it had some cream in it. So let's just take this old ochre out of here. And that's one less paint. That's another one gone. And let's mix this up and see what shakes loose. See if I can get it pretty much to what I had. Would you say that was pretty much back to where it was?
Well, you'd be the best judge of that, maybe.
I think it is. There and thereabouts. I can see the dark bits that dried on there and this here, and I think it's maybe needs a little bit of this. There, let's just see what this does. When you get to this stage, when you're mixing paint, don't go crazy with what you're putting in it because it can go quickly. The wrong colour. Yeah.
That looks about right.
I think that looks about good. Now, what you're going to need now is you're going to have to bail some water into here. Oh. Now, what I'm doing is very dangerous because this isn't really cured or properly dry, and I am in Scotland in a damp shed, so, you know.
If this works here, it'll work anywhere.
So if you live in Arizona, for example, you're laughing. Just give that wee stir. Okay, I'm just going to put it on with a small brush in sections because I don't want it to dribble into the red too much. So let's just see how we go with this. Now, I really want it a little bit more watery than this. I can already tell. So let's just bang a little bit more water in there and see how we go this time. Let's try up here. I think it's because my brush is quite thick at the moment. Not to worry, I can get rid of some of that by just wiping. I'm adding even more water. I must have a death wish. Right, okay. Let's see how this goes. Now, this is the colour that I want the cabinet, because this is the colour of the room that it's going to go into, or there or thereabouts. The room it's going into has a lot of toucans. I've nothing more to say on that. Now, I think working in small areas really helps, because that way you're managing to keep what you've done before. Now remember, there's a whole load of scraping to do. This is just, as I said earlier, as a kind of beginning. I don't want to run it too much into there, but that was a bit close. Just what we're doing with the handle, we're just kind of doing maybe. Now what I did was I kept this closed so that when I go like this, I've got the dark wood, but I will put a little bit of filler in that as well. But I quite wanted the dark, so I kept it up. You can take your hardware and things off, but it's this look that is quite distressed, so I thought may as well just keep it on. Now can you see what the paint's now sorted itself out, because the stuff that was I mixed the paint with on my brush isn't as dark, so it's behaving the way I thought it would. And all I'm going to do is kind of wipe it on, wash it off, kind of malarkey really. So you get darker and lighter, and you're keeping the blue, you're keeping some of the red, you're keeping all those colours that you've already put on. And this is another way of adding texture, because it's another layer of paint, which gives it another layer of interest. Now, I'm not going to labour the point too much. I think you understand what I'm doing here. I'm just basically going over it. It's not a frottage, it's just my paint is wet, and I'm using a cloth where I wouldn't usually if it was warm, because I would just let it run, but I don't want to do that because I need to be able to get this dry at some point. Now, did you see what I did there? I avoided that corner up there, and I'm going to avoid this red bit here if I can. Take it back in close again. There. Although that looks a bit strange. If you do something like that, your paint will run down into the join. See it running? I'll do that again so you can see. I need to get this bit here fixed. Jumping around, Martin, I'm gonna. It's because I'm doing my corners. I'll stay in one place for this. So some dark, some light. If you feel it's got too dark, you can always add a little bit more water. So, for example, if you thought that there was too dark, just give it a squish, but not too much if you're in a damper climate. There, yeah. And I think this should make an interesting look. Because remember, we've got a scrape backer black, white, and some of the red as well. So there's a whole lot of things going on here. So I'm just going to get on and do this with my tiny little paintbrush. I feel I can just control it a little bit better right now. I don't want it running everywhere. So this is probably the best way I think I can do it. Right then, I'll go on and do that now. And tomorrow, it will all be like this. Okay, it's dried. I've already scraped downstairs. We'll get to that in a minute. But I'm just going to show you. I think quite a substantial scrapey tool now. I see people using sanders and that kind of thing. And if that's your jam, fine. But I think you've got more of a control if you do it with something like this. A plastic scraper won't get in it enough. And I also recommend that if you're going to do this, you don't leave it too many days, because clay and chalk paint sets up so rock hard, and you really kind of don't want it to cure too much, because then it's really hard to get off and you will need a sander. So let's work on this part here and I'll just show you. So you're trying to do many things here. You're trying to bring out the brown.
Pause.
Yeah.
Okay, go. The shininess of the scraper was making
Pause.
my light levels go all over the place.
I'm sure they like that pause. And did you know what? I paused as well. My mum doesn't like it when he says pause to me. Anyway, yeah, so you're trying to do many things. You're trying to get the brown like that, but you're trying to also get the white too. And I want this line up here, but what I'm actually going to do, even though it's revealing white, is I'm going to come back and I'm going to put some Hornflower chocolate brown in here just to kind of, so you just scrape and scrape and scrape and scrape and scrape and scrape until you're happy with all your scraping. Really, that's it. And see that nice part red there? Let's just see if we can get a wee bit more of that. sometimes less is more when you're trying to reveal other colours. So this will be brown again. You need muscles, but it's worth it. And once you've done this, what I tend to do is, I had it a minute ago, is just get a bit of, this is a 120, and you're just kind of doing this over the top. Now don't worry if it starts to look muddy, it'll be fine when you brush it. And that just makes it that when we go to stencil over the top of it, it's not too hard. So let's just brush that way, away from us. And you can see that just brings it all out. And this is the kind of distressed look. Now I've got my window cleanup to do now. Last night, before I went away, I'm going to sneeze now, that's that dust. Should be wearing a mask. Last night I painted in their Hornflower, which is the chocolate brown. Do I open it up and show you?
Yes,
I think I shall. There we go. It's had one coat of the chocolate brown. Now my inside of the windows and the outside of the windows need cleaned. I'm keeping this like this dark colour under here, but I will come back and I'm going to kind of scrape round it a little bit and put more of a chocolate brown than a black onto it. Are we liking it? I'm loving it, but I just need to clean this up.
Well, you're the client for this one, aren't you?
Well, exactly. I'm a very exacting client as well. I know exactly what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up this dust, and then we're going to get down the bottom and I'm going to show you, let's get started with the artwork. This is the fun part coming up. Right, okay, this is just a quick, brief thing on colour. It's not a major sort of we're going into colour, but I will do one, maybe a video on colour at some point. Okay, so I did all this because I was trying to work out my colours. I think these three at the moment are the contenders. So the Hornflower, which is the brown, a sort of mustard I mixed up, and I'll show you that at the time. And this is just paprika on its own. I might add some of these other ones because I do want this to be quite colourful, but we'll see. But what do you do if you've got your paint colour down and you're not quite sure what's going to complement it? Get yourself a little colour wheel. This colour wheel is absolutely rubbish. I don't use this side here, but on this side here, so for example, let's have a look. This is the nearest we've got to the brown, right? And we know we're putting brown on it. So the complementary colour is the colour of the piece. See that there? Now, you can do other things, like if you think about the triads, which is 3 different things that we know are going to work. If you look at the triad for this, you get that mustardy yellow. So I've got a mustardy yellow. Now, I did this without using a colour wheel and picked my colours, but if you're stuck, colour wheels are really good. You just move it to, so say you wanted to find a colour that went with red, for example. So there's your little triangle, right? No, hang on. Get this right. There we go. Right. So there's a red. So what colours is it saying complements the red? These shades of green here. Now, this is why I don't like this one particularly, because it's very Janet and John in primary colours. It doesn't give you much of a colour choice in between. But if you get a better one, it'll give you a lot of different variants of colours. But you can see that working. But what if you wanted to use now? We could play a guessing game and I could do this and I could tell you what they were going to be before we did them, but that's not the point. Right, so with our kind of purple, it's saying a yellow slash green, but I actually think purple goes really nicely with this sort of colour here, but it doesn't actually. But if this was better, a better colour wheel, we'd actually have this colour maybe more on this. So yeah, colour wheels. On the other side, it just runs through how to mix them. Yeah, so if you add yellow to red, you get orange. It's quite, self-explanatory. If you blue and orange, you're going to get this colour, and you just go round it all, and it tells you what colours you're going to get by mixing them. And these are your primary colours, and then it gives you all the different ones underneath. But a good one of these is quite good. This is just a wee pocket one that I have. I sometimes use it if I've got something on it and I want to add another colour and I don't want to have to think about it too much. I'll just go and I'll whip along here and I'll decide what I'm doing. But this side, I think on this one is the one that I probably use this more complementary colours. The colour mixing side I don't use so much, but yeah, that's it. So, and these colours here came from this ice cream pot that I'm still using, because the little beetles are under there. I want to use all this paint up if I possibly can. So that's what I'm doing. So this is, and you can see all this beside this all works. So That's a good way to do it as well. I mean, I quite often put some just on some cardboard, set it up against my furniture and go, do I like this? Which one of these stands out? I mean, you can see the paprika is a standout winner against it, but also we already know that the chocolate brown is a winner too. So it's just about looking at your furniture. And to be honest as well, I think there's a little bit of this is you do you. If you've got colours you want to put together, well, who says it's wrong? You know, who says that colour can't go with that colour? It's entirely up to you, but that's what I do, and that's how it helps. Right, okay, that was a whole diatribe for no reason. Okay, so we've already established that I'm trying to use this palette up here. It's getting very muddy, but we'll work with it. Now, what have I got here? Now, I want to have something fine behind this, and I think I'm going to use one of these mandalas, but there was 2 mandalas on the thing, because obviously 4 of these makes up a circle, but on the sides I'm just going to kind of do a sort of fretwork of this coming down here like that, just on its side. I think I'll bring it to the edge and that will come down here. All of this is going to be done in the chocolate brown. The background is all going to be done in the chocolate brown, so it's going to be this. Now let's just get started so that you're not too bored with me yakking on about things that you don't want to hear about. Okay, bit of card, because you need a bit of card for offloading. A mixed mat's not very good. It just, I said this before, your paint just slips around in it. In fact, this is quite shiny card. You really need a brown cardboard box. They're the kind of best ones to do it with. Right, okay, so now, you know I like to fly by the seat of my pants, so I'm just kind of guessing. Let's just see, check. Would we say that's kind of central, Martin?
I would say put your finger where the middle is there,
and
then
we'll
flip it over.
You know, the intelligence of you, Martin, is just phenomenal. Right, I think what I'm saying is I have to come in just slightly. You wait and see when I do it, what fit the other side. Right, okie dokie. I've got a reasonably large stencil brush because I don't want to be at this forever. It's this sort of size. You only need it up to about here. If your paint is all down here, you've got way too much on your brush. Just the very edge is really what you need for stenciling. Yeah, we're going to offload it because we're going over a whole load of texture, and I do want this to be very distressed underneath because I'm going to sand this too. Everything that's going to happen to this piece from now on is going to be sanded, even the design work when I get on top of that. And how am I going to build up the design work? I'm going to be building it all up with a whole heap of stencils and layering them over the top of one another. So my end stencil is quite a large open stencil. Try and show you that at the same time, which is this one here. Yeah, which is going to go over the top of here. So this is just kind of almost kind of giving us something on the background, setting the scene. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't have to make sure when it's really textured as well. It's kind of hard to stencil, but we're going for that really worn look. So don't worry about it. And if you do it too much, you're going to be sanding it back a bit anyway. So there's no rights or wrongs on this one. This one is, I know this piece is for me, but it's also, this is a very happy project. You get to get messy and do splodge on loads of texture, which is good fun. Then you get the joy of sanding it off and revealing the colours. Now we're doing some happy stenciling over the top, and this is a fun one. Right, boom. See what I mean? It's subtle. It's not in your face. This is not in your face. Do you see what I nearly did there, Matt? Schoolboy error. It's just enough that when we go on top of it with more of the design, that it's going to have something to sit beside it. Why am I doing that? It's the same thing that I say every single time. We need to have some layers on this. That's what makes it look not flat. It gives it movement, and it gives your furniture loads of interest. So layers, I know I say the same things every week, but layers is where it's at, especially if they're cakes. You know those ones that have at least 3 or 4 layers? Oh, they're nice. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Martin, don't you? Right, okay. Let's whip this bad boy up here. I mean, this probably isn't going to end up being perfect, but see what I mean? See what happened there, Martin? When I flipped it around, it didn't fit. We joked about it. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do that. All right, okay, let's just start again here. Just check where I'm at. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. Most of this is going to get sanded away, and it's going to be so much over the top of it, nobody's going to pull you up for it. So, you know, if they do, just say, wow, I wanted it that way.
So what's it got to do with you?
Yeah, see, it's none of your
That's what I
beeswax.
wanted.
How I put my stencil on underneath. Nobody ever comes at me for things like this because they've been watching me for so long that they understand that I haven't got time to go, oh, I'll get a measuring tape out. That just takes the fun out of it for me. Right, okay. There we go. And one more. Let's see what happened there, man. Yeah, and for those that are going, well, she's cutting up her stencil. If I want to use this again, I'll just put a bit of tape over there. It's never the end of it. I cut them all up. If you're new to this channel, you'll see me do it all the time. It's all okay.
Yeah, there's very few stencils that you own that haven't been cut up.
No, because they're easy to use. And they're made by Marley stencils. We've got quite a gap around everything, so you can cut it out so that they are the size for your furniture. You shouldn't need...
Deliberately so.
Yeah. Yeah. By design.
Yeah.
By design, Ammo, that's what we're saying. Right, okay.
With intent.
With intent.
Yeah.
Now, I'm happy about that. Not so much. Oh, it doesn't matter, it's going to be sanded. Right, now the next thing I want to do is do another sort of half. I want to kind of join this up together. So let's just put, and I'm going to do the same down the bottom, but I'll show you this. And then I'm going to do the same round the edges. It's just, Martin's trying to edit. So at some point in time, when we get to the real sort of design work and it gets a bit repetitive, I'll get Martin to stick a camera up. I know you miss him, but it's just the way. It's the way it's got to happen, isn't it, Martin?
It is.
We multitask.
Yeah.
I ring Martin from the shed. Come now, I need you.
And bring tea.
And don't forget
and
the
cake.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've run out of brown. Hang on a minute. Oh, see what I'm doing there? Like an octopus. I'll be setting the scene with this brown, to be honest with you, all over it. It's going to form the sort of the part behind it. When it comes to sanding back, we'll come back and we'll do that together. Right, okay. That there, same's going to happen down here in this gap. And now I've got this one on. I think I might use the bigger. I'm wondering if I could do... I might do the full circles on, like so. Say this was the first, no, how are we doing this? It'll have to be like this. So this was our first half. I keep humming the tunes of Oscar's. Oscar's got a singing program that teaches him nursery rhymes, and I keep humming it all the time. Right, okay, so next time round I need to do, how am I doing this? So if that's there, oh, hang on a minute, I need to do...
You want it to come back out the other way as if it's sort of rolling down?
No, I want to do, I want to start at the beginning again. So that's a half, so I need to do half and half to make a whole, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, I just needed to do a little bit of brain work there. I can move this in a bit. Brain work, it's never good, is it, Matty? It's coordination sometimes with me with stencils and things. I have to take a minute to, so that, yeah, this would be going this way now. Quite heavy with my paint there. So I'm not going to do much more of this because you can see what way this is going. See what I mean? Now I'm having to work it out again, but this is going to go down these edges and this is going to be on here, and I'm going to do up the sides of the cupboards. I'll finish off scraping that bottom part there. I'm going to do it up the sides of the cupboards and on the edges of the sides and down. And then we've done all of the beginning work. Yeah? So that's going to take me a hot minute. So I'll get on and do that. And then we'll come back to the next part. Okay, so I've already sanded the brown on here, and I'm just going to show you what I did on here. So, you know, you want it so it all beds back again. But it's there, but it's not there, if you know what I mean. And that's all that really needs. And just always make sure you give it a brush. I don't tend to wipe over with a damp tack cloth, because I think brushing it kind of gets it, and then you've not got damp furniture on damp cloths on live chalk paint. It can be a little bit of a disaster. Let's just, I've done all this, right? Okay, so we're moving on to the design part, and I'm going to show you one. Then Martin's going to set a camera up for this whole thing, and I'm going to do a whole one door sitting so you can see everything's done. And then what I'm going to do is we'll come back and we'll start the sides, and then I'll get him to set up a camera for the sides, because when you see one side, it's the same on the other side. And then we'll get to all the other parts we've got to do. So this is the stencil for today. It's very basic. It's a very basic stencil. That's why I've chosen to put quite a lot of design work behind it. Yeah, so I think this is going to work over the top. Now, I'm still working from this palette, and I've managed to use so many up so far. This one here was the spare paint that I had. How did I mix this? I know what it was. It was Furrow, which is this colour, Furrow, and it had a mixed, it wasn't quite mustardy sort of coloured enough, so I added some of the red, and I added there's the red, you can see where I scooped with my brush, some of the red and some of the blue into this to make it a little bit darker. I originally had a little bit of Rodmel, which is purple, when I first mixed this up, but I had to pour some of it away because what I'd been doing was spraying water over the top of it at night so it didn't dry up. So I poured that away, head it up with the heat gun to get rid of the moisture, and then put a little bit more in just so there's enough to do the whole piece. I'm using Paprika, this colour, and Florence. I should have enough maybe in there just now, but I might need to top that up. You're going to need some stencil brushes, right? Okay, how am I going to do this?
Just like that.
Just like that.
Yep.
I think that's as good a system as any. All right, okie dokie. We're going to be going with the Paprika as our outsidey colours. Now, I've got a bit of cardboard this time to offload. Now, this is all going to be sanded again as well, so but it should make really nice texture. A bit more. The thing about textured looks is to build up your texture with a sort of medium. So we used our kaolin clay, layers of paint, scraping it back, making it feel textured as well as look textured is, and how are we making it look textured? Because we are layering a wide aperture stencil over the top of a fine aperture stencil, which kind of gives that look. I've not used this stencil, so I was kind of giddy. I thought I'd lost it the other day. I said to Martin, I know what I want to do, but I can't find a stencil. But then I just looked where I thought it was, and it was. Right, put that round there like that. Now, you saw me work out my colour pattern. Now, a bit of me wanted to do the chocolate sort of the cornflower brown in there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to use what's remainder of maybe I should have used a paintbrush for this. Let's just be careful. Yeah. Now let's have a wee gander. Ooh, are we liking? Yeah, I think we are. Right, okay, so the same deal, finger. I think we're kind of talking about here. Doesn't really matter, does it, on this part here? Just as long as it's kind of reasonably, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to really do this on everywhere I've got the bigger shapes. It remains to be seen as yet what I do with the rest. Just want to push that in there. I know, on here, because it'll give it the appearance of, again, movement. Pick a stencil that's a thick mylar, but not too thick. So this is kind of bendy. It's not the thickest stencils I've got. Some of my stencils are really thick, and I wouldn't have been able to get it up into
and around these joints, but because I can do it, I'm doing it. You can let go of the bottom part slightly when you're doing something like this, but you need to hold the top part together really quite tightly. I'm going for quite a muted look, so now you need to line it up again because it moved slightly when we did that. I'm just showing you this before I go off camera, just so you know that you can manipulate it. Normally I wouldn't pick a stencil like this. I would pick something way more intricate, but because I knew what I was planning to do, I thought this might just be what I think I'm going to get a bit of bleed through there. I think too much paint on my brush. Let's see. I'm not going to actually remove that. I'm just going to do my blue in here. Try not to get blue everywhere else in the process. I'm going to change this brush to a smaller one. Yep. So everywhere this is going to happen. And you're going to now see me make this all work in a sort of magical way. Okay? And you're going to see me probably get some palette knife out and maybe you do something like this in at the sides. But whatever I do, you're going to see me doing it. And I think this is a good way because I'm not stopping, starting, stopping, starting, stopping, starting. You're seeing me work it out as we go. So I shall go ahead and do this. Right, I'm just going to talk you, you've just seen this really speeded up, and I'm just going to talk you what happened. So you saw me put this shape on with my stencil, and then you saw me put the little parts with the Posca just to kind of bougie it up a bit. So we did that. I then put this green stencil. I'm using this colour here, this sort of dark greeny blue, because this is the colour that's in my bathroom and I want it to work. So this colour and this colour are in my bathroom. So this is where this cabinet is going to go. So I needed to put an accent in to kind of make it work. I then stenciled messily, it doesn't have to be perfect, down these edges. This is from the stencil set that I always use, and so is this. I then sanded the whole thing, sanded it all back again to give it the distressed look. And the most complicated thing I actually did, and it's not complicated at all, was I wanted to accentuate the doors. So you can see where I mixed up a black with a brown in it. There it is in my palette down there. See it? It's Athenian black and Hornflower, just to make it a little bit darker, because I wanted to try and match the dark that we put on with the black. So then what I did was I rubbed it down here with a palette knife, and then rubbed it down there. Up in the corners, brought a little bit down in this edge again, just to darken this up again. Doing things like this make these parts pop out, so it kind of works. I kind of did a little bit of brown up the edges and under here. So that was the brown. And after that, I picked the three colours that I had, which is the paprika, which is the sort of orangey colour, the ochre colour that I've mixed, and well, not the blue is the last colour. I put just touches of turquoise on it. And then what I did was, you saw me on camera, I just kind of put it on and smoothed it out down here, kind of, you know, bits and pieces. There's a piece there. Just had some fun. And then over my brown, I kind of touched some of the paprika again and brought that down the join. Same here. And then ever so slightly, so you can see a piece here, I put the turquoise on, just tiny parts. Look, there's a piece there. It's a nice chip there. And I did re-chip it. You'll see me on the camera, kind of any bits that I thought, oh, that's going to look quite good. So there's a bit of turquoise there, a tiny little part there, just little highlights. Oh.
That's me pushing the wrong buttons. Carry on. Sorry, everyone.
And I finished it off with a good sand again, so you understand what's happening here. The paint's going on, you're sanding it off. So the first lot of sanding comes when you have put all your stencil work on. Once your stencil work and your Posca pens is done, sand it. Then what you're doing is you're splodging your colours and you're putting your dark in around it. Not so much sanding the dark stuff, because we want this, but I did sand it anyway, and then you're sanding it again. So it's really not that tricky. Every other part that you see in all the chips was this original stuff with the texture. So you don't have to worry about what's underneath it. And to be honest with you, this is actually relatively smooth here. I mean, it's relatively smooth. It's only sort of crusty and jaggy around, it's not jaggy, but crusty around the edges. This is not a difficult thing to capture. I will wax this at the end of the day, but I think before we do wax it, once I've done the rest, I mean, I'm only on one door, I think what we'll do is we're going to put a little bit of gold in here. Now, whether that's going to take the form of gold leaf or gold paint, I'm not quite sure, but just something to make it pop a bit. I think maybe, did I add it? Maybe gold leaf. We'll see what time we've got, but gold paint would maybe be quicker, but it might not have the same effect. And then I'm going to wax it. And when you wax this, all these colours will brighten. And I can wax this because it's belonging to myself. So I don't need to worry about re-waxing or it being a super durable finish for the customer, because I know what's going to happen to this cupboard. And waxing is fine for a bathroom as well. If you're waxing your furniture, give it 2 coats of wax, but it's absolutely fine for a bathroom, because the wax will repel water and seal it just like a tough top coat. It's just that, if I'm really, really brutally honest, I prefer wax to top coat sealer. But as I've said in many other videos, if you're selling furniture, you want your customer not to have to ever wax it again. You want your customer, I
think it's more a case
you want the faith in what you've done.
You can't trust them to wax it in 2 years.
Yeah, and you can't ask a customer to re-wax something that they've bought and purchased and paid good money for in a couple of years. That finish will eventually it will need to be done. So why would you do that? The wax finish doesn't last forever. So it's better for it to be in a durable tough coat, and you can then relax because you know that your piece is going to somewhere where even if it's heavy duty traffic on top of it, it's going to be fine. For me, I'm waxing this. I know what's going to happen to it. The worst that's probably going to happen to this is Poppy's going to climb up and down it. But that is it. Nothing more. And the rest of my children are grown up, so they're not going to do anything horrible to it. And felt tip pens or anything that Poppy might do to it will wipe off. So I'm okay with it. The I still have to clean all this glass, which looks awful right now. But the upstairs with the brown in it, I might do this pattern inside it, but I think it might be a bit much. I'm wanting that sort of old look about it. And I think if I start putting crisp up there, I could sand it, mind, but I think maybe just keeping it dark, and I will be storing things up in there anyway. To be honest with you, it could do with blinds in my house because it'll all look lovely for the first 5 minutes, then everybody will rifle through it and it'll be a mess. And I'll be continually going, ah. So
we're full of like deodorant and
I don't know that's going in the bottom.
That's dry shampoo and
that's not
a
going
thousand
in,
other things.
that's not going in the top cupboard, Matt. And all my old apothecary bottles
Oh,
and the
okay.
sea glass are going to go in
Oh,
the
right,
top.
I see.
Toothpaste, deodorant, and dry shampoo is going in the bottom.
Right.
Right. Okay. So I think you've got what I'm trying to convey here. This looks way more complicated than it actually is, because you've done the majority of your work with your layers and your sanding back before you even put your stencil on it. So
I think the key to what I'm seeing in front of me when I'm looking at it is the work is what you did to begin with.
Yeah,
in building up your layers before you started with all this.
Absolutely. All the hard work that we have done already by getting it to this stage. And it takes a few days for all this to dry and cure and be ready. And you've got to scrape it off, then you got to sand it, then you put a stencil on, you're sanding that. I mean, when at the time I'm going to sand these stencils next, the ones up the top. But once they're sanded, I'm only going to be needing half of that stencil going up the top and round. It's not that, when you get to this stage, it's not complicated at all. So
I'm loving it.
I'm wondering whether I'll put a camera.
I'm excited.
Are you excited? It's
Yeah.
going to be really nice in our bathroom.
Well, we get to keep this one.
I know.
Yeah.
I might get one of those wooden tassels that I got off from that company for the Annie Sloan piece, because I think this would be really nice. Yeah.
Get one.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to just go and do a side by myself, and then I'll maybe get Mark to come back later on and put the camera up for the other side so you can see it. I think we'll work together on the roundabout the glass, because that's not as bog standard as just stenciling it. We're going to have to be thinking about what colours we're going to highlight around the window, just so that this and this works. And then we'll think about the gold. All right, so you saw me put in the stencil on the front earlier, and then it was all speeded up, and I said I'd come back and I'd talk you through the distress on the side. So this is how it looks when it's all been sanded back, and I've done the top, and we're going to come back and do the glass surrounds together, because that's different than everything else. But nothing changes when it comes to this. It's just, this is a different sort of pattern, because I could put 2 circles. I've just put where my 2 borders are and these. Now, you didn't see the Posca pens, but you saw it fast forwarded. What did I do? I just got this one here and twirled it around just like this. Just join that up. And same here. Sometimes it takes me a minute to get started with the twirly lines. I have to kind of do it in my head first. And I'm using, do you think it's just a brown Posca? Cacao, it says, which is brown.
It's just one of those. Yeah.
I think it's maybe...
It's like elephant's breath and that sort of thing. It's brown, isn't it? But no, it's cacao.
think there maybe is a brown one. This is more kind of red, so maybe it's just to differentiate. I don't know.
Oh, well, fair enough.
Right, okay. That's those. This I just did V's with a piece in the middle, V's. Now I'm rattling through this really quite quickly because, to be honest with you, it all gets really heavily sanded in a minute. So, you know, it's not your life's work. Although this kind of feels like it has been for me now. I think it's going to be worth it in the end, and I love all the texture. Texture has to have a purpose, I think. Sometimes you see people and they just want to put a lot of texture on it, but I think having I always think having a solid sort of design, whether it be round something or a stamp, decoupage, you know, that it has to have a sort of purpose texture as well. I mean, although I do like just texturized pieces, but I like them to have a sort of purpose. That's all I'm saying about that. And when it comes to what I've done on this piece, you could keep going on the layers. You don't have to stop. You just, each layer I would add slightly less clay. Start with your base coat of what you want to show through, and then change your paint as you go, and just layer it up, and then scrape it back and sand it and chip it and just play with texture. But there's nothing that complicated about it. So, you know, and we've already done the video with layering with paint. So once you've got your texture on, then you know what to do with layering. You can frottage it, you can wipe it on, wash it off. I mean, you can do all these different things. Lightly stencil it, sand that back. You can do any one of those things. Right, quickly going to do this, and then we'll get on to really shabbying this up. And you can see how quickly, I mean, actually, I wouldn't probably be doing this quickly if Matt wasn't filming, but he's a busy man. All right. There we go. And this one. Right, okay, this is done. Just a wee top tip, just give your Poscas just a little bit of heat up, just a wee bit. I also would do this as well if you're going to seal your Poscas. I don't seal until I know that they're properly cured, and a way to do that is just to kind of put some heat on them. There you go. Right, now what you're going to need your sandpaper here. Really, you just want to start fading it. And this is the bit that you saw me doing fast forward with. And it's just, and when you come across, sorry, this is noisy. When you come across a bit like this, I would like to chip that off. Any other parts like that, just feel free. I mean, if you come across something like that, just give it a good sand and chip it. It seems a little bit counterintuitive. You put it on to sand it off, but the design is still there. You're just fitting the design back into the texture. And you need muscles. Now, I think I'm quite happy with that. Now you need your fuzzy brush. Yeah. Next, what you're going to do, you're going to add your little splashes of your colour. So I've got this limey colour, so let's put some. Now, this is where it can all go horribly wrong because it can end up looking a little bit spotty. So just pick some areas and just don't go crazy. Be subtle. And I know that's not a word you would use to describe my furniture, but I also think sometimes layering paint and doing a bit of distress, you have to be kind of subtle, not too much. If not, splodge it there, 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 and there. When you step back from your furniture, and in fact, sometimes I see furniture and maybe they haven't stepped back and they've got the splodges. And you know what? I completely understand that, because when I started out, that was what if you go back to some of my older videos, you'll see I'd never really kind of like, sometimes they looked a little bit spotty. So you've got some of this colour on. Now we're going to dip our finger in the paprika. And as I said, it's just subtle areas. We don't want it saturated. I kind of tend to put them, see where I've done a bit of green? I kind of tend to kind of layer it beside it. I don't know if that's just me, but that's how I like to do it. Not always, but quite often. Don't want too much of this. Just here's a kind of space here that maybe looks like it could do with something. Right, so we've done that. I think that's probably enough of that. Maybe we've got the turquoise. I didn't really add much to that. We're just kind of highlighting here and there because it's the brightest colour. So we're not really kind of, just some of that maybe, and maybe somewhere in and around the design. Again, we just need to quickly dry this. It doesn't take long because there's not that much on it. Boom. Then we're coming back with our sandpaper again, and we are making sure that that doesn't look too contrived. Right, flappy brush again. What did I do with it? Here it is. Let's give that another. Now, last but not least, you want to make it look like it's worn. Now, I've got my brown and my black on my palette here. Let's just mix these up again because I ran out. All right, okay. So we want it. Oh, that's quite heavy. It's maybe a bit much there. I'm gonna have to sand that maybe so it's not so heavy. Just lightly, just kind of almost kind of tickling it. Just want to get some of that off my. I'm gonna have a big patch there, and maybe some under here. I still haven't sanded up here actually. Now, if you want to kind of almost make it look like this corner down here is missing. Need a paintbrush as well. Let me just find one that's going to work. Yeah. Do a little bit on this side, but not too much. And I'm just going to take that dark paint in there again. Yeah. Don't need much on the actual main piece because we've got this stuff that was coming through it anyway. So, you know, don't go daft with this one either. Right, okay. I think we're calling that quits. I think I'd like something to go around here. Now, I'm going to dry this and sand this now. I'm going to do up here, put the Poscas, do all the distress and sand up the top. I'll get my hand to come back over. We'll flip it back onto the front and we will go round the window. And then I will be waxing it. Okay. Okay, so I'm inching closer to the end, and what I've got now is I'm trying lots of different golds at the moment, and this one is gold fabric and it's called Craig's Gold Leaf. Now I've got a little brush here, and what you need to do is try and put the gold on like it's distressed, so only pick pieces and parts, and I'll show you up the top in a minute where I've already done it. I don't think you need to be too tidy about it. If you don't like what you've done, you can give it a wee sand. I have kind of sanded it, but it's kind of not, because it's a kind of, I know that if it was really distressed, the gold would be distressed as well, but I kind of like this little pop of a bit of zhuzh. So I'm just picking parts with this gold, which has got a little bit of a kind of sparkle on it. It's supposed to be so close to using gold leaf, so I thought I'd give this one a run out. Yeah, it's nice, I like it. Right, so that, just trying to think what I did everywhere else. I did a little kind of untidy sort of round there. I think we'll go around here, but we won't do it fully so that it looks like it's a bit distressed. So I kind of stop and start, kind of like that. Yeah. This is going to help with the sort of aged, because if you put it on too neat, it's not going to work. So where we're going on with this one here, we'll do the go round here first. Yep. Now you can make it really tidy, but it's not going to really go with my vibe. So I have to kind of like, make it like the rest. So, but if you wanted to make it tidy, you don't even have to. If you don't want to once you've done the main distress and you put your stenciling on, if you don't want it aged, you can have it just the distressed background with just a plain stencil on it and not fade it all back into the background. You don't have to do any of those things. That is all completely up to you. But there'll be enough in this that you can kind of maybe get a little bit of inspo and decide what you want to do. I get a lot of comments saying, you know, that I've inspired enough that they've got an idea, and I think that's what we're talking about here. You know, just giving ideas. So you can see, you don't need to make this your life's work. The gold. I'm going to go down this shape like this. Not all of it, just some of it, like that. Yeah, maybe run a wee bit in there. That wee bit of bougie. Yeah. Maybe some in these edges as well if you want. You need a bit of glitz, man, don't you?
You do.
You do. So I'm just kind of like giving this sort of look now. I'm not doing too much of this. Once I've done round here and I've done these shapes to the side, really, to be honest with you, I'm not doing all of it either. I'm just kind of roughly doing it. Just here and there. And this should make this part kind of like pop. Here, what we're doing, let's just go around this shape again. Like that, I think that's enough of there. Let's see if we can kind of run it along this line. That'll be a wee bit different. Run it along this line as well. Now, I have given the glass a scrape with my yellow scraper, and I'll show you that in a minute up the top, because when we got the top in a minute, we're going to put a little bit of distress, just a tiny touch on the glass, because I've actually stood back and went, I'm deliberating whether it needs it or not. So that's that thing that I keep telling you, step back. You may have an idea, you may want to do that idea, but your furniture might sell you something completely different, and I think that's okay. You just have to run with it. If you think, because quite often I have an idea and I go, this is what I'd like to do, but then I actually kind of look at the furniture and I go, actually, do you know what, I don't think it needs it. And once this has been done, once we've done the glass at the top, I'm literally going to, I think I'm going to run a wee bit of gold down here, right down the leg of just a wee bit of something down here. You can do these things. I mean, this is you doing you now. Right, I think let's just touch a wee bit of gold on here, just a tiny bit, not too much. Bit in here as well. Just a wee nod to the distress. Put some up in there. Are we saying that this is good? I think we are. I think I'm quite happy. I'm not entirely. I might send some of this back, but probably not. Right. Do I need any wee kind of accents of gold on this front? Because I've done everywhere else, you see. So let's just put some in there in that little triangle. Or add a bit of beige. Right. Okay. We are done here. I'm going to stop the camera, get up the top, do a little bit of stress around the window, and then it is time for me to go and wax it. Okay. I got mine to stand it back slightly so that you can see what I can see. If I came along and I put too much dark, it's nice with just the plain blue with the design that runs around it. I think this knob could do with a little bit of just a sort of nod to the other colours. So you can do that just by kind of using your finger. So we know that that's pretty good. Not too much, just a little bit. If you don't like that, you can sand it back. And what was my other colour? Paprika. Do you know, I'm getting all confused. And this is the dark colour that is in my bathroom. So let's just put a little bit more of that. Yeah, so that's all you need on that. Now, I'm not going to go crazy. So I've got what's left over the dark here. I think what I want to do is I want to make a sort of dark edge down the bottom here. And that's just a nod to what we've done at the bottom. Not too much. You can go heavy or light. It depends on yourself, really. Yeah. Quite happy with that. Now, this is where it really gets... You maybe want it some up here. Because that's, again, it's a door jamb. But not as I said, I don't really think it needs... I don't want to go... Yeah, I think that's enough. I'm not going to go to town on this. There was a hole here, because obviously it was made out of old floorboards. So what I did was I just accentuated that and made it a feature, because I think that's what I want. I mean, it's my own furniture, so, you know, I can make it, you know, as distressed as I want, right? So a little bit of this, just a little bit. We don't want to spoil the aesthetic we've already got going on, because I quite like it from a distance. So just a little bit, maybe just some in here. Now, I've given the glass first pass, as I said, first pass of the cleaning. So just wee totty parts. Just that's maybe enough. I think I'm going to stop there. How did I clean the glass? I've told you about these things before. People have this weird thing. It's crazy. I've seen them comment on other people's furniture art when they're using a scraper, and they go, it'll scratch the glass. It doesn't scratch the glass. So these are really good. They're just, they come and you put like a blade in them like this, and then you just scrape away to your heart's content. If you've got, like, I've got smears on mine, what I clean mine with is methylated spirits. It's an alcohol, and you just give it a good old clean, and that'll get the grease off. I'm going to have to put some sort of degreaser on this first and get rid of the grease, and then I'll finish it off with this. So if I move this to here, that's how that looks now, and I think that is completely enough. Completely enough. Now, I need to let all of this dry, but up here's already been done. So every time I'm asked, how did you seal it? Even if I say, because I think you maybe need a visual. So this is Annie Sloan's clear wax. In my Annie Sloan video, I said I've never used a clear wax. What I meant was I've never used the bronze leaf, because I use the clear wax all the time, but it went out that way. And I thought, oh, well, those that watch me normally will know I have used it. It was as if I was telling fibs. Right, okay, so I put it on like this. I don't want to go too close to these doors, so I'm just showing you a little part. Like when it goes on like this, and then what I'll be doing is, I had a soft cloth a minute ago. You want a soft cloth to wipe away excess. Now, don't use anything that's going to get too much stuck in your texture. But once this has all been done, and it's hard to show you right now, but this is how it's going to look. It's going to be soft and buttery, and that, although it's heavily textured, is very smooth. It's very nice. So there we go. Well, next time you see this beauty, she'll be, I mean, I pondered maybe doing something on the inside, but I think that the brown just complements everything that's going on, and I think that is probably enough. So I'm going to wax it, I'm going to leave it, and I've decided I'm going to try and make my own tassel. Martin was dubious, but and our experiment for next week is doing really well. It's sitting over here drying, so I think we'll do something with this next week. I'm just going to leave it like this all week. This has the potential to go horribly wrong. If we get to it next week and it doesn't work well, I'll think of something on the hoof. So I've got not many left in my palette. I'm going to bag it up again and see what I can get out of it for another day. This is going in hot water, my basin behind me. I'm going to clean up. By then this will probably be dry enough to wax it. And I think maybe what I'll maybe do with it is, I think we'll come back and do it in the morning, Martin, won't we?
I think so. I think it's enough for today.
I don't think I'll wax it tonight. I think I'll just leave it and then I'll wax it tomorrow, and we'll get it sorted out. But it's a nice piece. I really like it. It's going to look really nice in our bathroom. Our daughter came over early and she went, "Oh, it's a nice piece." So, and as I said, I'm a very difficult client because I know what I like and I know what I'm looking at, and I'm like, I don't want that, and I don't want that. And when I create just to sell, I'm not always as, I'm creating to sell most of the time, and I don't feature so much distress, and I don't worry too much. I like a corner, so all my corners are covered. It's nice and distressed. I like it, and it'll look nice in the bathroom. Now, Martin, remember, all the toothpaste and soap and everything is going in the
bottom cupboard. Only nice things.
Only nice things in the top half. Folded towels, etc. Looking glamorous, right? Okay.
For 5 minutes. Anyway.
I know. Right. So next time you see it, it'll be staged up. Okay. Well, I think the customer's quite happy with this today.
Is she?
Yes, I am. Is the customer's husband happy?
He is. Yes.
Right. Oh, good. We're all good then. Is using texture on your furniture difficult? No, it's not. And it really isn't any right or wrong way to apply it and to use it and to scrape it back and to sand it. You have to find your own vibe in that. But as I've shown you today, it's incredibly easy to use texture, and it gives such an amazing look. I love putting texture on furniture, but I can't do it all of the time. But because this was for me, I thought I can go to town. I think as well, I'm more aware when it's for me that I want mine extra distressed, in and around the edges. But often, although I paint to make myself happy, I also paint to sell furniture. So there's a little bit of how far do you push it on the distress. And I've kind of quite heavily distressed this piece, but it all works with its originality of the build of the piece of furniture. It was made out of old floorboards. It had loads of holes and things in it. The top glass is an old window. I mean, it's quirky and old, and I was never going to sell this anyway, so I thought this is perfect. All I did was kind of put some stenciling over the top of it. You saw me do that. I kind of added a little bit of interest with some Poscas and sanded in between. That's really important. Sanded it in between, just to keep giving it the wear. Every level, every layer, give it another sand. And I did not sand back the gold. I left that just shiny as it is, and I quite like it that way. Painted in the side of the cupboard brown. I didn't get around to making myself a handle. Kind of push for things that I've got to do today, so this is where we're at. That's it. I hope that you start exploring texture, because I'm telling you, it's really good for the soul, slapping that stuff on with a knife and sticking your fingers in it. And it's messy, but it's good messy. It's good for the brain messy. So yeah, I enjoy it. Martin, do you have anything to say?
No, it's a cracking piece. I enjoyed watching you do it. I'm looking forward to putting it where its new forever home is.
I'm gonna let it sit in the stable. And plus, I've got no big sons; they're all away doing things for a couple of days. But when my older son, or my son-in-law, I'm sorry, I'm factoring this in myself. But when my sons come back, we'll get this over, and I've already currently got 2 pieces of furniture in my bathroom's big, so I have 2 pieces of furniture in there, but those are both going to come out. One is I'm getting rid of completely, and one will come back into inventory, and I will repaint. So I'm gaining another piece to do, and this piece will be going in, but this piece will be staying in the bathroom. It works with what I've got in there. So, and it'll be really nice because I've tried to complement the colours. It's good if you're painting for yourself because you can be quite exact, which I quite like. And Martin, where's the toothpaste got to go?
In the bottom cupboard.
In the bottom cupboard. I don't,
only nice things.
if I come in and your can of deodorant's in there, I'll be like, look at that. Okay, so we'll see you next week. And next week, you already know, spoiler alert, I'm going to do something with the chippy bits of paint. Don't know what that is. This is taking a whole left field because I hadn't really thought I was going to be doing that. And normally I'm quite led by what I'm doing. It looks
like it's going to work.
It looks like it's going to work. I'm going to pick, I think I've already decided I'm going to pick our little table. If I can find a little round table. So it'll be a small piece we're doing, but I think this is going to be quite maybe laborious. So we'll see how it goes. See how we can get this done. Okay?
See you next Sunday.
See you next Sunday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.